There we go. Had some connection issues, but here we are in the deep of Taiwan. Hi, how are you?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Okay, great.
Can you guys hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, so you guys are watching the harvesting, the plucking right at the moment. It's live in action. So we're in Renai County. Right now we are at the elevation of, we're at the lower elevation, which is about here. If you guys can see, it's 1720 meters high.我直接介绍，直接转过来。And let's take a look at the owner of the tea field right here, 蔡先生嘛 and his name is Mr. Tsai.
Hello.
Hi. So he owns the field right here, and he told us that before we contracted with him, this is our contracted plantation, and we took over. We signed the contract production with them. 这是多久以前开始合作的？2年前是吧？
这个茶已经种了10几年了。
Over 15 years. Over 15 years. Yeah. So we contracted producing, like manufacturing with them for about like a few years. 你们跟他们合作是大概多久？
我们是就是一开始就是我们在这边开垦。
Okay. So it's been 15 years. We've been contract manufacturing with them. And right here they produce about 6,000 kilograms annually, which is quite a lot for the elevation. You guys can take a look at the view right here.
Wow. I always find it so fascinating. To me, like, this is considered lower elevation, but I live at sea level, so to me this is like very high.
Yeah, it's actually pretty high for tea. A high altitude mountain tea, which is alpine tea, is usually above 1,000 meters. Is already an alpine tea. And the tea fields here use a lot of fertilizers, and they don't really use any pesticides here as well, so it's considered organic. And the reason why I say it's considered organic is because we don't do a lot of certifications on it, but the practices that we grow the teas here, we don't use any pesticides at all, and the fertilizers we use are pretty much organic. And you can probably see a lot of, maybe like there are flies around. It's the proof of using organic, like heavily, like strong. We use a lot of fertilizer. And I was just overheard from the tea pluckers. They said they love picking teas here because it's beautiful. Like, we can take a look closer at the teas.
Wow.
They are taken care of like really, really well. Incredible.
You know, we had originally planned to do this like a few different times, and it seemed like the weather wasn't really cooperating very well this year.
Yeah, we are actually, there are like water shortages in recent, it was from last year we had a frost. There was like frosting situation as well. And this year we're shortage on water, and the production we're expecting from the industry is about 30% short this year for the spring harvest.
Wow.
Alone. And let's see. And the weather wasn't cooperating. That's one thing. The shortage of the water is also one of the effects, and that's why we had to postpone the harvesting. And then it was because of the weather. It was like there are pouring rains for three days straight, and we couldn't. We don't pluck. We don't pluck when there are rains because the water. It's gonna be hard for us to dry the leaves. So we don't usually. When there's rain, we don't do any plucking. We have to wait until the weather is nice.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be a lot harder to harvest in the rain.
It's hard, it's dangerous, and it's really, really hard to produce. Like we have a co-op factory down here, around 1 hour drive, less than 1 hour drive. And if we have like really wet leaves, and it takes about 1 hour drive to go to the co-op for processing, the leaves won't be good, and it won't taste well. And the varietal here we use are called, well, we usually call it Oolong, but then there are hundreds of different types of Oolongs out there. To be specific, this Oolong is called Qingxing Oolong.
I know that particular cultivar is used a lot in Taiwanese oolong. Do you know why that might be?
I'm sorry?
I noticed that particular cultivar is used a lot in Taiwanese oolongs. Do you know why that might be?
Because this particular varietal is usually grown and harvested above elevation, like 1,000 meter elevation, because it has better, it's like really delicate, and it has better flavors. When you grow higher elevation, like higher than 1,000 meters high, and in the area of Lai Shan area, is usually like you see, I would say 80% of the tea fields grow Qingxing Oolong mostly because of its exotic flavors produced when you grow anywhere above 1,000 meters high. So we're about to go and weight the teas in about like 15 minutes, so you guys can actually watch it.
Awesome.
Like how we weigh the leaves and how they're calculated. She's like the fastest pluckers we have.
Yeah.
She picks really, really fast.
How much tea do you think a typical person would pluck on a day?
Let me ask. I would say about let me ask them for a specific number.
Yeah.
It depends individual, because someone slow, someone quickly. So maybe 20 to 30 kilogram one person. the quickly person maybe 40 to 60 kilogram. Yep.
Everyone tuning in, definitely feel free to let us know if you have any questions. I love that I can hear the birds chirping in the background.
Yeah, like it's all the natural stuff.
Definitely. I'm in New Jersey, so it's evening here, but that means in Taiwan it's in the morning.
Yeah, we're also 9 o'clock here, because I know Eastern time is also 9 o'clock, but it's the only difference is we're in daylight and you guys are at nighttime.
Yep.
And it's kind of hard to get in right now. Otherwise, I would like to show you guys like the things they wear on their fingers. It's like two knives, sharp knives, like, and they wear it in between the fingers. They usually wear about like one on each hand, and they wear this. I don't know if I can zoom in. Not, yeah. You can see a little right there, and they use the knife to cut the teeth. So it's not actually breaking it; it's actually cutting it. And it has like really clean edge. 这边采的都是一星而已嘛。
现在比较，以前是啊，但现在才1.3也
了，
够嫩就
够嫩就可以了。对。So the standard for the tea leaves that are plucked are usually one. I think you guys call it one heart, right? One heart, two leaves. But because the tea leaves here the condition is really good, so they can actually pluck it until like 2 to 3 leaves, and it's still pretty good.
Definitely. For oolong processing, you really need like more larger leaves to survive rolling. Where, like, say, green tea focuses on delicate buds, but they really wouldn't hold up to oolong processing.
Yes, exactly. So when we have to pluck green teas, we usually go to lower elevation with younger tea trees.
Maybe like this.
Okay, so here we have a closer look. Right here. See the delicate, and Qingxing Oolong is usually really, really small leaves. So you can actually take a look at it. Like compared to Jingxuan, it's a lot smaller. And in about 10 minutes, we are going to take you to and show you how they weigh the teas. And we can take an even closer look at maybe the knives that they actually in their hands and how everything process, like how it goes. And in between the time, if you guys have any questions for us.
Yeah, definitely let us know if you have any questions, where you're watching from, what teas you're drinking.
And the harvest
So for those
for
of us on the
the harvest annually is about, we do about 2 to 3 times plucking, like harvest annually. And the reason is because it grows slower compared to lower elevation. Usually above 1,000 elevation has only about 2 to 4 times harvesting annually. And the lower it grows, the lower it grows, and the less time we harvest, it enriches the flavor, like the rich flavors. It builds a complete, flavorful tasting wheels, I would say. So compared
yes,
to
Nelda.
the lower elevation, yeah, so it builds slowly, and because it grows really slow, so that the complete taste buds of the flavors build along the time.
Definitely. I think tea and wine are kind of similar in that the harder the plants have to work to grow, the better they taste.
Yes, they do.
Definitely. And yes, Neldon, this is Taiwan. So we are on a mountain in Taiwan right now.
The mountain is called Chilai Mountain. It's about we're about like 1750 meters high.
Is the weather warm there today?
It's really hot, actually.
Yeah.
So you see how the dress, you know, because it's for the sun. If you don't wear any like sunproof or anything that blocks the radiation, it's actually not. It's really hot. We're like sweating right now. But when it gets to nighttime, it's really, really cold too. So the weather, the temperature is like really different from daytime to nighttime. And that's one of the reasons why the tea also grows really well.
So right now I'm drinking your Lai Shan Oolong.
That one is really nice too. That one is also that one's about 1400 meters high, and also a pretty young tea garden, tea field. If you guys can also see the water tank over there, because
Yeah.
we prevent, usually we have to prevent from the weather being like this year we have water shortages, and to prevent that, they actually have like really complete setups, so that whenever anything happens like water shortages, we can support water anytime. And when there's like any other condition or anything that we might have, any problem that we might have, we can actually do something about it right away. So over the years, they built a lot of setups to complete everything, and for them to prevent any disasters from the weather that might affect the tea leaves growing.
So Nelvin asked if the drought impacted the harvest this year. We were actually just talking about that we had to delay doing this video a few times because there was a drought and then it rained for several days in a row. So the tea couldn't be harvested, but drought's definitely been an issue this year.
Yeah, it did. It helped a lot because when the first time we postponed it was because the tea leaves were growing because, lack of water. Excuse me, the tea leaves grow. They were like, some are shorter and some are like really, really long already. So we had to maintain them and to make sure that they grow with constant condition so that we can harvest them once.
Definitely. I can imagine it's quite challenging. I have two very small, very young tea plants, and they had put out buds at the start of spring, and then we had a cold snap, and those buds all got damaged. And they're way too young to harvest anyway. But I can definitely imagine if you have a whole field like that, it can be really difficult.
Yes, and this field is like 1/3 of the whole field we have. We have more from there, and we have another field way over there. So that
Wow.
it covers. This is like 1/3 of it. So you can also see from down there as well. Down there, there's another one, and we have this part right here also, and this part is we're still expanding. So you can see that we have about like 3 different mountain fields, just like this one we're showing to you. We have 3 of them in this area.一次大概是几个采工这边
30几个，30出吧。
And we have about 30 pluckers at a time. So what you see here is only a few. We have more in the back over there, like way back at the water tank. You can't really see because the elevation is really high. And that's why it ranges from 1700 all the way to 2000 meters, because it's the elevation is actually, this environment is really steep, so the elevation changes like a lot. So from down here, from where we're at 1750, and if you take a look at the higher elevation right there, it goes all the way up. Like, it's really steep. It goes all the way up to like at least 1900. And that's where the other side of the fields are. The other side of the fields are is higher. So we plug it from yesterday, from lower elevation to higher ones, from a region to another.
As a tea lover, this is my favorite time of year. I've never really gotten to travel, but I get to live vicariously through everyone that's going, sourcing tea all over the world. So this is definitely an exciting time, I think.
And this year alone, because this is like the first year Taiwan is opening its gate to welcome all the foreigners to come in. So we have a lot of visitors actually this year, because in
That's great.
previous years, previous like 3 years, because of COVID, no one could come in. So we have a lot of visitors this year. They're pouring in to check out all the tea fields and how we're doing. And we're attending a lot of different, mostly from the States.
That's interesting. do you find that there's like an increased interest in Taiwan teas?
Yes, because they actually see how different we are because of how we process the teas. Oolong tea has probably the most complicated processing in compared to green teas and black teas because they're like really extreme. Since green teas they don't do oxidation, and black teas they do like full oxidation, and in between, so I would say 20% oxidation to are oolong. You can define them as oolong. So they have a lot of possibilities in terms of flavors. And if you add on to roasting, there are a lot more coming in. And if
Absolutely.
you guys
Whenever
have
people
tried the Oriental Beauty, they also it also has another flavor as well, and the flavor is like really like honey like, and the reason why it has that honey flavor is because it's attacked by the buds, and it releases this it's a mechanism that it releases to attract the predators of the buds, so that the predators come in and annihilate the buds, I would say, like they eat out the bugs, so that the mechanism that it produces to attract the predators, that's where the honey comes from. Yeah, so we're about to take you guys to weigh the tea. You should hear them calling out anytime now. And we're going to take you there.
does harvesting typically take place in the early part of the day?
It usually, it really depends on the amount. For them, they started actually pretty early, because where my other contract plantation, they start at around like 9 in the morning, and they would finish at around like 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And here, I think they started at around like what, 7:30, 7 in the morning. 他们开始的时候 6 in the morning. Yeah, that's like really early.
That is
And
early.
one of the reasons are because the production here is massive. So they need like 30 people to plug, and I think 3 days straight.
Oh no, they get 66 days.
6 days, yes. Imagine how many teas they have.
Definitely. We have a question. How many times per year can you typically harvest tea leaves from a tea plant?
For the higher elevation, it's usually 2 to 4 times, I would say. And for us, it's usually like 2 to 3 times per year.
3 times per year.
Depending on the condition of the teas.
Too cold, so we just pick 2 times.
That definitely varies a lot by where you are, what kind of plants you're growing.
I mean, just waiting for them to start weighing the tea. see a lot of scooters right here too.
Do they use the scooters to transport the leaves?
No, it's actually it's the pluckers, the tea pluckers.
Okay.
Because they usually live around when the harvesting season starts. These pluckers, they go all around Taiwan. Because we're like short on pluckers too. Because you know how you have to pluck 6 days, at least 3 days to 6 days, like for this for this condition, this plantation here, it takes 6 days to harvest, and you have to harvest it with, and we told you guys we're like sweating right now, and see how much they're wearing under the sun, and you have to pluck precisely. Otherwise, when we weigh the teas, we usually check the condition of the teas. We check how they harvest. If they pluck the teas with more than certain tea leaves, for example, like they pluck it for more than 5 or 6 leaves, we have to reject them, and we have to correct them as well. And sometimes the lazy pluckers, they would pluck a lot more tea leaves because it weighed more, so that they can actually earn more. That happens. That doesn't happen much, but it happens.
Oh, we have a question. How long after harvest? Basically, how long after harvest do we have to wait to be able to drink the tea?
大概多久？采摘完以后多久才可以喝？ So we take the tea, we pluck the teas, and we take it down to the processing center, the facility, and usually the drive is less than 1 hour drive because it oxidizes. So you have to take it as soon as possible after you pluck the teas. And it takes about like how many?
You need to take 2 and 3 days to making the tea, and then maybe if you want to go roast it or not, depends on the customer or the seller. So maybe 2 to 3 days they will try again, try the tea.
And it's really fun too, because each day, each harvest, I would say like if we have 6 days harvesting, each day actually tastes different.
Yes.
It's really fun.
Yeah. So we have if we pick up the 6 days, we have a 6 flavor.
Yeah, 6 different flavors.
Do you typically blend the different harvests, or are they kept separate?
It really depends on the customers when they try, because some of the customers, they would come up to the co-op, not the field, but the co-op. After processing, they would taste each day and they choose whichever they want, or they would blend it themselves and they would choose the blending themselves. So it really depends. It really depends on the customers. But typically, personally, I think blend ones are actually better. So when the tea harvesting season starts, you'd see a lot of buyers. They would drive up to the mountains and stay for like a month or so, just to, go to this co-op and that co-op in different region, and to taste different harvest on different day. Because every day tastes different, even if the same field.
Most definitely.
So it's really fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun, but also a lot of work, probably.
Yes, it definitely. And you could see a lot of buyers when they like something, they would stay at the co-op for like 2 days straight. I guess we're postponing the weighing the tea right now.
Maybe waiting the trunk.
Oh yeah, the truck is not here yet. That's why.
Okay. Another question, what determines how caffeinated a certain tea is?
That actually depends on how you process it. So when they roast it, there's usually this white powder thing that comes out. That's usually the caffeine being roasted out of it. So I would probably say the roasted teas has less caffeine, but it really depends. It's something more like coffee. So you have the different varietals, different processing methods, and using the fertilizers. Since you know what you give to the teas, what you fertilize with, it it goes back to you. So whatever you give the tea, you back with the thing. So I would really say it really depends. There's no like a strict rule that there is to follow it. Like um, for certain teas, they have certain fixed amount of caffeine. You really have to see with how you grow the teas and what varietal you're growing with and the processing and if you roast it or not. You have a drone. And we're probably gonna go now. All right. Do you guys have any questions for us? We might have to prepare for our next.
We got some new people who just joined. Feel free to let us know. There's not very much space between the rows.
Yes. And it's really steep too. I'm gonna take you to a closer look.
So this is in Taiwan. We are on Chilai Mountain.
Yes. About 1750 meters high.
Do you know why we call Chilai? Chilai's name is from Japan. Because the Japanese like to go hiking the mountain, but the Chilai is very dangerous. So the Japanese had Chilai. So we called Chilai. Chilai in Japanese is they hate Chilai. So this mountain they call Chilai mountain.
Very nice. We're very international here. We've got someone watching from Venezuela. Well, they move so fast. I don't think I could ever keep up with that.
You have to like see, and your hand has to follow where you're seeing, you're checking, and you have to aim for the next tea leaf and pluck it, so that you have to see the one that you're going to pluck, and when your hand reaches it, your eyes are gonna aim for the next one, and then you pluck it, and then and then it goes on. Are there any questions that you guys may have for us? Because we kind of have to call it off.
So, before we do finish up, if you have any questions, feel free to use the question button or throw it in the comments.
We're about to start another one within like 3 minutes. We have about 3 minutes left. We're gonna try and get closer to show you the blades or the knives, however you call it. I would call it the blades. You can see probably in the index finger, if you see like a red bandage wrapped around the finger, at the tip of the finger, there are like 2 blades. It's probably really small, you can't really see it. I'm trying to catch it.
We do have a question. Do you pluck the first 3 leaves? I know we were talking about this a little before, but for oolong, normally you do pluck a few more leaves.
So we usually aim for, it depends on the condition of the tea leaves, and usually they would pluck it 1 heart and 2 leaves, at least 2. For the condition of the gardens or the field we have right here, we usually pluck it till 3 leaves. You can take a look at the tea leaves. All right, so we have 1 minute left. Is there any other question? If that, if it answers the question well.
And if you're just tuning in, I'll have this saved so that you can go back and watch the beginning if you missed out on that part.
All right, so we're gonna.
Well, thank you so much for giving us an inside look at Taiwan. We really enjoy this.
Yes, I appreciate you sharing with us too, sharing the love, you know, and how we do here, what we do. I hope there's next time, like when we do processing, we can show you all the processing, even the factory, the co-ops, the environment we have.
That would be great.
All right. We'll probably plan another live stream as soon as possible, I would say, because of the plucking. The harvesting season doesn't finish until, I would say, the beginning of June. So we still have quite some time to plan on. And because we're going to go processing later, but it's going to be midnight in the States, so we probably can't be sharing the processing. But we can do the stories. We can do Instagram story and show it to you. And okay, and we're gonna
Definitely.
go off now.
Okay.
And thank you,
Sounds
Nicole.
good.
Thank you for doing this with
Yeah,
us.
thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.